Okay, go ahead. So wait. Just to be extremely fundamentally clear, do you believe that you don't even need an inference rule just for an argument to be valid?
I never granted that. I just like
I'm saying, do
made
you
a. I'm
believe
not
that?
going to defend that proposition. I'm not going to defend it. Of course, I don't.
Okay,
I don't hold to it personally, so it's
nice, nice.
irrelevant to the
So
point.
I'm gonna ask you this question. So what was the inference you gave? I mean, you try to give P1 the car is blue, or was it the sky is blue?
I mean, if you don't like it, I could give you like another.
No. Give that same one.
Give you another
I
one.
want you to give that same one, please.
Okay, well, I choose not to. I'll give you a better
Okay,
one
so
if you
I'm gonna
think
tell
that
you
as
what he
well.
said. I'm gonna tell you what he said. The car is blue, or the
That's
sky is
not even
blue.
the first premise I said.
P1,
That's
the sky is blue.
this nigga
The
can't
sky
even
is blue.
track.
Shut your dumb ass up. You're very shit. The sky is blue. P2, this car outside is green. Conclusion. What did he say? I exist or some shit?
No. All right, I'll give you another one.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, this is like from a textbook, by the way. All right, so I might
From a textbook.
need to leave.
You have to get it from a textbook because you know the main argument you given was so.
Because you're appealing to textbook. You're like you said earlier too. I could give you from a textbook. I'm saying like that's fine.
No, I told you, give me yours. Use that one. Why would you do it for the rec? Why are you scared? You like running
I'm
away with the
not
tails
okay. All
between your
right, fine.
toes?
I'll give you another one then. All right,
No, give
fine.
me the
Like
same one. I don't give a fuck. I want the same one.
okay, fine. What is the one that I said earlier? It was something like if the sky is was it like
You
the
didn't
sky?
say if.
Yeah, if the sky
You
was
didn't give
if
the
the
motive.
sky premise one the sky is red. Premise two the car outside is green or some shit like that. And conclusion I live in Paris.
Okay, the car outside is green.
Sure.
And in conclusion, and you think this is formally valid?
I never said it's from. Well, I mean,
You
sure.
did.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, no, none of this
I think it's logically
follows.
valid. Yeah, it's
You
a
called me a
logical.
dumbass. You called me a dumbass like multiple times, but no, this
Yeah,
is not
because I think
logically
because
valid
I'm
in
holding
any
to the
type of way.
definition that an
You're
argument
looking
is just
bad.
going
Hey,
to
yo,
be
the guy
valid
looking.
under classical
I
logic.
don't know why you keep
Hold
on
on one
over
second.
talking.
I'm
This,
saying
this is
that
not looking
an
good.
argument
This
is
is
going
not
to be.
looking good. Stop trying to over talk me. Like I was trying to say, it's not going to be logically valid. Now let me put in
I
like
get this.
propositional variables. All right. All right. So the sky is red. It's going to be proposition P. The P2 is just going to be Q. And then the propositional variable for conclusion is just going to be, I guess, Z. None of that follows. P is not going to guarantee the truth, or it's not even gonna guarantee the truth of two, let alone it's not gonna guarantee the truth of the conclusion because none of this actually follows to lead up to the conclusion. None of this is in a syntactical type of formulate, I guess, connector.
You could slow down. You could slow down. Take your time.
Right. So, like I was trying to say, this is gonna be very invalid. And I can explain to you like why. So, like I said, premise one is gonna be P. Um, premise two is going to be, I guess, Q, because it has no logical support. P1 and P2 can be granted, and obviously, concluding that you live in Paris, there's no necessary connection between the premises, because obviously, none of it actually grants that you live in Paris. It only grants the truth of the claims. So you can actually be living anywhere else. It doesn't have to grant anything. The conclusion doesn't even conduct any. I mean, the conclusion isn't even conducted from the priors. I'm sorry.
And this is the reason why I said this is one of the problems with classical logic. Like that, even though the premises cannot be relevant to the conclusion, it's still be formally valid unless that there is a counterexample. I can
Where?
grant you that like
How?
you can well, hold on one second. I'll let you speak. You can like hold to that like an argument's only going to be logically valid if you have inference. So that's why I was like, okay, you know what? I can grant you
Mm.
that. I can object to it too, but then I'll just grant you because personally I do hold to that. So I was going to give you a similar argument with like irrelevant premises and like an irrelevant conclusion from that under like an inference, which you didn't want. So this is very unproductive too.
No.
But all this entire rhetoric is like irrelevant to the point because the contention here is that you're saying that under classical logic, an argument is never going to be logically valid unless the conclusion is going to be necessarily following. Now I'm just objecting that that's not the case because even though the
Mhm.
premises can be relevant to the point, it's still be logically valid unless you give a counterexample.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that's not going to be logically valid at all. I already gave in a semantic dispute. So obviously, um, when we're speaking about validity or logical validity in this sense, we're having to say that the premises are going to guarantee this conclusion. That is what we're speaking about. That's why we're speaking about structural preservation, meaning if the structure would be preserved to give out the output, and that output would be the conclusion within the configuration, in this sense. And we can have like inputs and outputs in that sense. So the premises being the inputs would have to be obviously something that is connected. Maybe if I would have an output of one, and then I mean not an output, I mean an input of one and an input of two, that one would have to be stacked on from the actually that two would be stacked on the one, maybe through like an axiom sense. And then I were to just read that out so I can give an output of a three, for an example. That
Okay.
obvious
The fuck is
yeah,
he rambling about? Like you're
that
lost right now.
I'm not
You're
lost.
not
You're right.
engaging with my points. Cause
Yes,
like
I am.
yeah, I mean I can understand you. That's why this is a problem. It's a problem on the classical logic because in an intuitive sense, when we say something's valid, obviously we're just going to intuitively
I'm saying
think
it's
that the
analytic.
meaning. Okay, that's fucking irrelevant to the point again.
No, it's
Stop
not.
over talking me. Let me explain.
It's
Let me
analytic that
explain.
has to follow.
Okay, so what? All right, that doesn't have anything to do with like validity and like
It
classical
does.
logic. This is like a
Because if it
problem in the
doesn't follow,
classical
then it's
logic
not valid. It's
because
invalid.
okay, can you stop interrupting me? Thank you. I'm not talking about validity. I'm not talking about something being analytic or not.
I
We're
am.
talking about something being valid. So we're talking about how an argument's going to be valid in an intuitive sense. Obviously, the conclusion is going to necessarily follow
What the
logically from the
fuck?
premises. But I'm saying under classical logic, this is going to be a problem because it doesn't. That's not the definition of validity is.
Yeah, so the definition matters because for how something can be valid, we must determine what it means to be
Yes,
valid.
you're begging the question here.
That's
I
not begging the
agree
question.
with
That's
you
not
on an
assuming the conclusion
intuitive
within the
sense.
premises.
But hold up, I agree with you that the intuitive definition of valid is going to be that, and that's why if there's a disjunct between classical logic and
I'm
like
not saying that
under
that's going to
classical
be.
logic, the
I'm not
definition
even
of
saying that's
validity.
intuitive.
One second. The definition under classical
Why are
logic
you over talking?
as something being logically valid going to be distinct from like the
Why are
intuitive
you saying that?
definition of
But
logically valid. That's going to be a problem, and
why are you
that's why
saying
I'm
it's
saying this is a
intuitive?
problem under classical logic.
Why are you saying it's intuitive? First off, I never said it's intuitive. Another thing I wanted to say is obviously no. That's my definition. I'm going to be holding to. You have a semantic dispute, and what is going to be the reason?
Oh my God, bro. I'm not disputing what the intuitive definition of validity means or your personal definition of validity is. I'm talking about what formally valid means under the definition of classical logic.
Yeah,
And
formally valid
are you
in the
listening
meaning
to what
in
I'm
what
saying?
I'm saying.
I'm saying that disjunct between, like what you personally hold to, what we all intuitively think when we say something's valid, and the disjunct between what classical logic entails of
Yeah,
something being
what
logically
classical
valid,
logic
which is only
entails.
if there is no counterexample, then this is what the problem
Huh?
of classical logic is in
That's
logical
not what
validity.
classical logic posits. Can you show me one classical logic paper that actually posited that?
Okay, yeah, I could show you one.
Yeah, show me one where it says
Do
validity
you want me to show you a textbook?
is basically an argument that has no counterexample. I want to see that.
No counter. Okay, yeah, sure. I could
The
give you an
fuck?
example.
That's not even what because when I looked at validity, all it says is it's speaking about if the premises are true, then the conclusion must be guaranteed following from the premises. That's
Yes,
what I
and
see.
that's going to be like the intuitive
Under
meaning
classical
of
logic.
validity is. But I'm
No,
saying
I don't
under
believe that
classical
there's an
logic,
intuitive meaning of validity in that sense. No, because when we think about validity or how something is valid, I don't even think that we're thinking about in the sense of a formal logic sense. Like when you're using an everyday casual language informally, that is going to be more intuitive versus invalidity when we're speaking about structure preservation.
okay, but I'm saying that like the disjunct between like there being. I'm muting this fucking like mock guy, bro. It's like whispering in my ears. Anyways,
Yo,
like
chill.
I can show you like the paper. I don't know why you're talking like while I'm trying to pull something up. I mean, if you want to
Yeah, show me the paper.
if you want to keep rambling because you're like not confident, then that's fine. But
Does he think like this rhetorical
I'm
devices
asking
is
you.
just
I'm
going to
asking
help
you.
him look
By
good?
the way, you're the one who brought in like the rec. You want to debate with me, bro? Like I was low key like trying to finish my homework, but that's fine. I could like engage with this for a second.
Does he believe
But I'm
like the
asking you. Do you
rhetorical
want a
tactics is?
textbook,
I don't know. Oh, you want to overtalk?
bro?
Like
I don't
stop.
even do. Bro, what the fuck am I? What
I don't
rhetoric
know, like,
textbook
why
am
you
I
think
talking
just
about?
like
This
rhetorical
guy.
tactics is just gonna make you look good by saying I'm not confident. Obviously, you haven't actually went to the meat and potatoes of everything I said. Even try to engage into a semantic dispute with you and say that this is gonna be something commonly accepted under the classical logic sense, and not something that's just gonna be intuitive in the sense of an informality. But obviously, you're running away from the conversation because you're obviously not confident in anything you're saying. Obviously, you're running away. Maybe because I don't know. You're feeling like very autistic, or maybe you just like see Daddy Kill and then you get like very scared.
Yo,
But like maybe
jeez.
it's like just not good for you at all. But it's okay.
All right. I mean, like you saying it's not good. It's not going to like make me nervous or anything, bro. It's fine. You can think whatever you want.
Oh my God. Does he really think that everything is about making him nervous? Like, come on, man. I know you get nervous at everything and like tremble before your
Can you
eyes
hear me,
before,
nigga?
but yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hold on.
All right,
Wait, where
bro.
my
You
pen
do.
at?
You say whatever you want. Anyways,
Like it's just
do you
not making
wanna
you
do you
look
wanna
good. I don't
text?
know what
I'm
you think
asking
is.
you for the third time. Do you want a textbook? Because you're asking me for like papers. You mean, like
Yeah,
a
I
large
actually give me a
textbooks.
paper that basically posits that. You give me like a paper that like posits
Yeah,
that.
sure. I'm like,
Like
I'll
actually,
I'll
or
I'll
maybe
bring
even
up
show me
some.
the exact
Use
page.
the
I want to
paper
see
or
if
no
this is
textbook?
official.
You want the textbooks?
Ice.
A paper, a fill up paper on classical logic. Go ahead.
Okay, well, like
Sonny.
all the things I have right now at the moment is like textbook. I'll look up some papers. Give me a second then.
Nigger, 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 nigger.
That
I'm
shit doesn't
having so
even
much
seem
fun with.
intuitive.
I'm having so much fun with this fucking auto finish, nigga.
Then
Nigga.
and then when he gives that, I'm gonna just like give him a different definitional criterion, which is actually posited in the very proponents of what we call formal logic, and then he's just
Yeah,
Yeah,
gonna be
but we
that's
don't give
that.
a shit about that because when we're considering
You
a
don't give a shit
problem
about
under
it. That's
classical,
not a we.
yeah, because we're right now we're evaluating whether or not
You're
classical
stuttering.
logic is
Chill out. You're
all right.
definitely
Great. I
stuttering.
mean, who's doing the rhetorical tactics now?
Yeah, I'm using
Anyways, let me
rhetorical
just like get
tactics
on with.
because he thought it was gonna
Okay,
make you look good while doing it.
Mm.
fine.
Nigga.
Okay, all right.
Send me a
Whatever you
nigger.
say, bro. Let me look up some papers here. Oh, I mean, do you have any criterions for like what is going to be a proper paper in your eyes? By the way.
A proper paper. I don't care for it's a proper paper. Just give me a PDF link or like maybe
Okay, I
like a
have
paper.
Yo,
PDFs links right now, and then I'm saying these are textbooks, and then you're
nigger.
not going to. You said you're not going
Is,
to
is it
accept the
like a
easy ones.
textbook online or no?
Yes, online. It's fine. Right here. I have it.
Give me it.
All right, sure. I'll send it to you.
Yo.
And it must be on the basis of classical logic. That's what I mean. It just must be relevant. That's the only way I would say it's proper if it's relevant to like classical logic or formal
Yeah,
logic.
I understand that. I understand.
Base. Oh my god. Yay. I'm in ears. Nigger. Nigger. Hey, don't get slammed, little nigga. I love this auto painter. Sun, 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 sun.
Bro,
Hey, yo. What, nigga?
bro, Mark,
All right, I
stop.
have one here. Here we go.
What?
All right, yeah, show me in chat. You can show us like side chat.
Well,
Let me see
well.
if it. All right.
Well, you're a nigger.
Here's one I have like stored up like right in front of me, so we could talk about this one.
Wait, what?
And then there should be like a
Beautiful.
section on like truth
Logic and
validity.
complete introduction. Oh, this is TU Family? Yeah, TU Family
Yeah.
literally agrees with me. This is the PDF I read too.
Okay,
Yes,
sure.
TU
That's
Family
it's a
right
pretty good
here.
intro. All right.
Yeah, it's really good for
Go to
beginners.
page 19.
Yeah, page 19. I'm here. So
And
it's speaking
go
about validity.
to page 20. That's like validity right there.
Yeah. Validity. It says an argument is valid if and only if the conclusion follows the premises. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but like look below it where it says look below it and hold up.
Yeah, that gives
Page
a
number
modal
21.
opponent. If it rains, then the ground is wet. It rains, therefore the ground is wet. If P, then
All right,
Q,
but
Q, therefore P.
look right under when it says more examples. Example number 16.
Contrast with another. If it rains, then the ground is wet. It does
Bro, are
not
you
rain.
not
Yeah.
reading the more examples section that I have right here?
Okay,
Like, are
more
you
example.
purposely
Oh,
dodging
determined
it?
by intuition whether the following arguments are valid. Confess. Hold on. Yeah. So
Example
Confucius was
16.
a great teacher. There are 7 days in a week. Therefore, 2 plus 5 equals 7. And 16, the premises and the conclusion are all true. Yeah, exactly. But just because the premises and the conclusion is true, that does not mean that it's going to be a valid argument because
Okay,
it
are
has
you
to
reading
follow.
it? Just read what it says,
It's
bro. What are
even
you fucking
necessarily
rambling
the
about?
conclusion is even necessarily true because mathematical truths do not depend on contingent matters in the empirical world. However, the premises are not relevant on the conclusion. So although the argument can be called valid,
So
it is
although the
only
argument can be
vacuously
called
valid.
valid, it can be called valid. So look, in the more
No,
example section
here,
that
let
I
me tell you
gave you.
where
Wait,
this
hold up one
fails.
second. I let you speak. I'll let you speak. Let me give you my explanation. All right, or my point. So premise one, Confucius was a great teacher. Premise
I
two,
just
there are
denied
7 days
premise
in a
one.
week. And in conclusion, there is 2 plus 2 equals 5. Or sorry, 2 plus 5 equals 7. And then he says, or the author of this textbook says that. So
He
although this argument is
affirmatively
valid,
says
this
the
argument is
premises and the
valid.
conclusion is true. I would just deny premise one. I wouldn't say it's gonna be true.
I don't care what you know, when you say something is logically valid doesn't mean that it's consistent or sound. Obviously, like just because you say an
And
argument
then
is
and then
valid,
and then and then
logically
when you
valid
say
doesn't mean that the premises are
necessity,
going to be true.
Yeah, you're gonna say if the premise is going to be true. But obviously, even when you're trying to speak about the conclusion, I won't even say the conclusion is necessarily true.
We're not evaluating the truth we're not evaluating the truth value of like these propositions right now. We're just saying whether or not this syllogism or this argument right here is valid. And it says in like the
I
same,
believe it's
by the
not.
way, you accepted this textbook. You said like this is the same textbook you read from. And it says right here that the premises which are irrelevant to the point from the conclusion, which was my original position, it says that, you know, this author says that this argument is valid. So the
Are you
same
done?
one that you accept says it.
No, it's saying that although the argument can be called, it means can. You can call it this. Doesn't mean that it is. But he said it's only
No, what the fuck are
vacuously
you talking?
valid.
It says it's not vastly valid, okay,
It's
but it's still
vacuous. Do you know
valid.
what a vacuous truth is?
Yes, I do. I'm not talking about like vastness. We're not
We're
evaluating
not
whether or
saying
not something
vacuous.
is
It's
vastly valid. We're
vacuous.
talking about validity in the like. I mean, you could like make distinctions in the first place when you're talking about validity. You
It's not
just
good
like
reasoning.
flat out denied. Well, hold on. You flat out denied there's any bit of validity when the premises aren't going to be relevant to the conclusion.
Are you done?
You said that the only set criterion for an argument to be valid is that the premises are going to be, the conclusion is going to be necessarily implied from the
Premises.
premises. And I just gave you an example from the
But
same textbook and
but
author that you accepted from,
they're not
where the
saying that.
premises are is not relevant.
No, that's not what it was saying. It's saying that conclusion is even necessarily true, because mathematical truths do
Oh my
not
god.
depend on contingent matters. But this is what he's saying. He's saying that the argument can be called this, but I wouldn't agree with that. I would just say that it's not going to be valid at all. Because remember, can is a modal verb that implies possibility, and this can be in any type of modal scope or schema. Then he would just say it's vacuously valid. When he says vacuously valid, he's just saying that,
Wait, what the
oh,
bro?
well,
What
it's
does
valid
modality have
because
to do
there's
with
no.
anything with this, bro? Are you serious?
Yeah, modality has everything to do when we're speaking about language like can. Are you dumb? Shut the
I
fuck up.
understand that modality is going to be implied when like using words like can, but like we don't need to evaluate the modality of whether or not this argument is valid because that's not what we're talking
No,
about.
he's saying that
We're
it
not talking
can.
about this, or we're not talking about whether or not
Called.
this proposition obtains.
He's not even saying it is valid. He never even said it was valid. He said it can be called valid. Are you dumb?
Okay, but like the same author that you accept says that this can be valid. It's still
No, he
accepted
said
as
it can.
valid.
No, are you dumb? He said it can be called valid, but it doesn't mean that it is valid.
Okay,
But
but
he said
if
it
you
was
do
valid.
you think when I say something's valid that there's no like any bit of validity to it? Is he just fucking lying?
No, he's not. He said it can be called. Are you dumb?
Okay, so when he says it can
Let
be
me make you
called
look.
valid, then there's yeah, and
You
he
can
makes
just
the
listen.
necessary distinction. He said it's not vastly valid. I understand. Yeah, sure,
No,
it
no,
can
no,
be
no, no,
vastly
no,
valid,
no, no,
but
no.
there's still some bit of validity
He
here.
said
You
it's
can make a
only
distinction.
vacuously valid. He's saying it's only
Yeah, you
vacuously
can be.
valid. Now,
You can make a
stop trying
distinction.
to
You can
overtalk me.
make a
Stop trying to
distinction.
overtalk me. Stop trying to overtalk me. I don't know why you keep on doing that. Just stop. I said one more time, and I will go slow with you. The author, and I want you to stop trying to like misconstrue the author. He never said that this is valid. Okay? He said it can be called valid. And he said it is only vacuously valid. Now, do you know what it means to be vacuously valid?
Yeah, only satisfies the condition sufficiently.
Okay. That's not what that said. No, a deductive argument is vacuously valid when its conclusion follows logically, but only because the premises can't be all true at the same time. So an argument is
So like,
vacuously valid if there is no possible situation where all the premises are true and the conclusion is false, but only because there is no possible situation where all the premises are true at all. So
okay, yeah, I know, and then this still satisfies the condition for it to be valid. I mean, you, I don't care like what distinctions you bring about in validity and like what type of validity you're predicating onto this like argument. Doesn't matter to me because like
my God.
for your position to be defeated, which your original position is, I hope you said it in the bracket by the way, which was that you don't think that there's going to be any validity ascribed to this, like any argument where the premises are irrelevant to the conclusion, because the only criterion for any bit of validity to be applied to an argument, logical validity, is only where the conclusion is necessarily following from the premises.
You
Which
want to
I
know?
can say that there is some, yeah, but I'm showing
Okay.
you a case in which there is some bit of validity still applied to this argument, which is that
Oh,
it's vastly vacuum.
actually, you want to know why your example is even incompatible with this? You want to know why?
I don't need to know why.
Yeah,
Like,
you
go
do
into
need to know why. You want to know why? It like
okay, sure.
your argument that you gave him was P1, the sky is red. P2, the car outside is green. C, I live in Paris. Because well, the one that he gives, which is therefore 2 plus 5 equals 7, is necessarily true. Yours is not even necessarily true. That's contingently true because you can also live. It can also be said that you can live in fucking
Okay, why are we
Idaho.
backtracking to like the original
No,
like
I'm telling you that your example. There's no way that your argument can have any validity.
yes, but
I'm
then
saying
that
that it cannot
argument that
even
I
be
gave you
compatible.
previously wasn't like relevant completely to like the thing that we're contending on. That's
It
why I said
is.
like, okay,
You
I'll
said
give
that as
you a.
valid.
I said, hold up. That's why I said I was going to give you a better one that's going to be applicable here, and you didn't want to. You want to like, I don't know why you
What
want
do you
like a
mean? You
low
gave it a
hearing.
better one. I gave it in chat. I gave it a picture. You said the intuition one.
Yes, but then that's not this argument wasn't like the thing that I was using to contend your argument. The one that I was going to give you was actually similar to this. It was going to be like something where I understand like the criterion, whatever that's said by this author. But still, this is like completely, this is like a red herring. I don't know why you have to backtrack to like something that I said
It's
that's
not a red herring.
irrelevant to the
It's not even
conversation.
that. I was telling you that
It's
your
irrelevant to the
argument.
conversation. And
I was
also,
trying to
like,
tell you that you
are we
lost that
past this
point.
point by the way? Because like we were talking about initial. I mean, we're talking about right now, or not right now, but like earlier, like 5 seconds earlier. We're talking about
Hold
whether or not
on.
like any bit of validity still applied to this argument. Are you still are you going to
Okay,
concede
hold
on
on. I have a
this when you're going to go
question.
back to
I
the
have a
original?
question. So if I were to say P1, the sky is red, P2, the sky is not red, conclusion, I live in Paris. Since both premises can never be true together, there's no
This
counterexample
is
where the
not,
premise.
bro. Are you fucking like retarded, bro? This is
Are
not
you
the
dumb?
argument that I was going to give for the contention. Are you
No, I
serious?
never said that was an argument you were giving, nigga. I was trying to talk. The fuck?
Okay, then if that's not the
Shut the
argument that
fuck
we're
up.
evaluating for the contention, then why are we talking about
It
it, bro?
is
Like
gonna
what?
be something evaluated for a contention. I'm just talking to you. I'm asking you a question. That's why I said, do you believe? And then you're gonna let me finish, and you're gonna shut the fuck up. Now listen, when I say P1, the sky is red. P2, the sky is not red. Conclusion, I live in Paris, where the premises are obviously contradictory. Since both premises can never be true together, there's no counterexample where the premises are true and the conclusion is false. So that makes the argument valid in form, but vacuously because it is going to rest on impossible premises. Do you agree with that?
I don't think there's a contradiction there, but like sure, like
There's
I
a
mean,
contradiction.
I wasn't like talking about Vash's validity in this argument. So
That's
if you're talking
vacuous
about
truth, though.
that, no, there's no necessary like conclusion is not necessary. It's not necessarily true.
Oh, okay. So, so,
Hold up, can you tell me
is
the
it not
contradiction? By the way, I'm confused
vacuously
here.
that? So,
What
isn't
was the what was the
that
contradiction with this argument that I gave?
the premise? Okay, the one I gave in the chat. I never said there's a contradiction with the one you gave.
Okay, I understand. All right, just but like this is the one that you wrote down from the one I
I'm talking
gave
about the one
earlier,
I
way
vocalized.
earlier.
That's a whole different argument. The fuck?
Are you talking? Wait, hold up. Are you
Is it
talking
not
about the one in
tracks?
the side chat right now? Are you talking about the one in the side chat? Yes or
No,
no?
I just vocalized the argument. I said the sky is red with
Okay, but
premise
are you
one.
still talking about the one in chat right now?
No, I'm not. What the fuck are you on? Are you not tracked?
Okay, then why are we talking about this point then?
Because I must ask you a question.
Then okay, I answered, and I don't think it's going to be vastly valid, sure.
So it's not going to be vacuously true or valid. I meant.
Um,
Because I
what was the
believe that
conclusion again? Sorry, can you
vacuously
repeat your
valid.
conclusion?
I believe that vacuously valid just means that valid only because the premises contradict each other, making the truth of the conclusion irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like. Well, I don't think that's the only example because like the example I gave you within like the
That's a
textbook.
definition, not an
Wait,
example.
hold on 1 second. The conclusion I mean the argument I gave you in the as an example in the textbook is not like where the premises are going to be contradictory. Like it's just like the criteria is also met according to this author you accepted, where just the premises are irrelevant. But I feel like yeah, sure, like
Yeah,
I
then they
didn't
want to
hear
be
exactly.
vacuously
I
true.
didn't hold on. I didn't hear exactly what the conclusion is, but I still think maybe it's possible where that if the premises are going to be contradictory, there's not going to be any like case in like I don't know what notation to give, like a truth table or whatever, where the premises are going to be true and the conclusion is going to be false, so it's not going to be invalid. So maybe if that's what you mean,
So
then
you're saying
sure.
it's
But
vacuously valid in the sense that the premises contradict each other, but making the conclusion irrelevant?
yeah, but can you repeat the conclusion for me? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, sure. P1, the sky is red. P2, the sky is not red. Conclusion, I live in Paris.
Okay, I mean like sure this can be vastly valid. I'm not like
Okay.
I don't
So
know
it's
why this is relevant.
vacuously valid. But okay. So do you believe that my definition of vacuously valid was okay?
I feel yeah. I mean I think that it can be vastly valid.
Okay. Okay. So you said you think that's like an attitude towards the proposition. Do you affirm it or no?
I mean, from what I know, I think that it can be vastly valid. Sure. I
Okay.
mean,
So from
I
what you
know that the
know,
textbook. Wait, hold on 1 second. I know the textbook talks about how like only if like the conclusion is going to be necessarily true, is that the case in which it's going to be vastly valid? I still think that this given case can still be vastly valid. So if that's your like, oh, like
Well,
that's like,
it doesn't say only. It says
yeah, okay,
it's
then
even.
so that's why I'm like thinking it can be possible. I can still grant it, like, sure, this can be vastly
So then
valid.
listen to this. So then listen to this.
Okay.
Then okay, did you agree with my definition? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, that example can sufficient the
No, not the
it can
example. I
be
said the
sufficient
definition.
for the definition of vastly valid.
Okay. W. Beautiful, beautiful. And you believe I had the correct definition. There's no contradiction. There's no problem. Okay. Beautiful. So if that's going to be the case, then the one that
Well, I
Hugh
don't.
Fan
Hold
Lee has
on.
given.
Okay. 1 second. I know the pivot that you're going to go by. That's why if you listen to what I said earlier, by the way, I said that there's going to be other conditions that can be met for something to be vastly valid, and I gave you, by the way, like if the premises, even in the case where the premises aren't relevant to the case or like to the argument or like the conclusion, this would still be vastly valid. It's not only the case where like the conclusion or the premises are going to be contradictory to each other. So I didn't say that that definition is going to be like the entire definition of something to be vastly valid.
And I'll
I
just
said that
disagree with that. What's going to be the argument for that?
it's going to be sufficient for it.
So then I'll just disagree with the other definitions. What's going to be the argument for that?
Okay, like I don't. Okay, if we're gonna have like a meta debate on like the semantics we're using, then I could just appeal to something that you accepted earlier in the debate, which is like this guy's textbook, Sufan Lee, and he gave the example where that
No,
this
I
is
didn't
vastly
appeal. I
valid
didn't
when the
appeal.
premises. Well, hold on 1 second. When the premises aren't relevant to the conclusion, and this is still considered vastly valid by the same author that you accepted.
Are you done? No, I said that obviously I didn't appeal to him. I said that
You did accept him.
no, I said that I read him. I think he's pretty good, but I never said I appealed to him.
Then what was the entire conversation earlier about like, oh, this is what he said, this is what he said, this is actually what he means? Like that's so bro, this is so fucking retarded, bro.
Right, because you wanted to go into that point. You
Like
wanted to
nigga, you're
say,
like,
you come at
bro,
the left.
you're being retarded right now. Like you
You
understand that
are.
you were we were literally contending on like what he was saying because you obviously held him to be authoritative on like this he
I
was
never said he was
educated or authoritative
authoritative.
on this
I
definition
said
of
that
validity.
I never said he was authoritative on this entirely, like an expertise in this. That's what I mean. I'm saying that obviously. Well, this is person that I read logic
Fuck,
from
bro.
a long time ago.
Then why the fuck when I gave you the example and I asked you, do you accept this or do you want me to give like do you have an other criteria in which you're going to accept because we want to talk about something you accept, right? Like paper. Then you just said like when I gave you this textbook of Sufan Lee, you're like, oh yeah, okay, we can talk about this one because I accept him too, or like some I read him too or some
And
shit like
even
that.
talking
And
about
then
logic.
hold on. In conjunction to that, when I gave you the example, you could have just fucking rejected it at that point. If that's what
I
like
did.
your original position was, but you were arguing
I
with
did.
me on whether or not what Sufan Lee was saying was like what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, 'cause I'm
So
not
you're just
even
fucking
saying that.
lying at
I
this
don't
point.
even. I said I don't even believe that CU family even agrees with this. And even when we say vacuously valid, I don't even think we're speaking about logical validity anymore.
But hold
I
on.
don't even
So
think
do
this is
you agree?
validity
Wait, do
anymore.
you agree with me? I mean, are you backtracking? Or are you like conceding at this point
This is
where
not backtracking
this
nor
is like?
conceding. I'm saying
Well,
that.
hold on.
Well, when I
One second. Because you said you don't think earlier your position. You're arguing that this is not what Sufan Lee, you know, says when he's saying that this
he's
is a
not affirming
valid
this.
argument, this can be valid. Are you like backtracking from there? Are you
Exactly. So when I'm
saying
saying when he says valid, I'm speaking about logical validity.
the fuck, bro? It says vastly valid. We were talking about vastly valid, nigga.
Oh my God. When he said this can be called valid, we're talking about in the sense of logical validity, but I don't think that he holds that's logically valid, but it's just only vacuously valid. My bad. Not vacuously. I don't know why you
Okay,
say
but like
vacuously.
when he says vacuously valid, isn't this like this literal textbook is on formal logic? This is going to be vacuous. Like I don't know like what the fuck context you're putting vacuously valid is, but this is going to
Yeah,
be
I'm saying that
contextually in.
it's different.
This is going to be in the context of formal logic, obviously, because he's writing about it.
No, I'm saying it's
Fuck.
gonna.
I give you a textbook of formal
No.
logic. He says this is we're on a section of formal validity, and then he talks about vastly this argument, by the way,
Yeah.
which is like
He's thinking
a
about
logical
contention.
argument,
For
and he
you to
says this is
understand
vastly
a
valid.
concept, for you to understand a concept fully, especially in its fields, either its philosophical inquiry or its like classical inquiry, we must understand maybe some other contentions or other type of interpretations of how something could be interpreted. I felt
Nigga,
like he was
that's oh
talking
my
about.
fucking god. That's why I asked you earlier. Please, bro. Listen, that's why I asked you earlier for distinctions and validity. I don't think that's like it was in the rec, but like when you were giving the criterion for validity, you just made like a blanket statement that something's only going to be valid, something's going to only meet the criterion of the word
I'm
valid
talking about
in
logical
like the
validity.
context of logic. Yeah, we're already talking about the context of logic. We were talking about logic. So you understand understood
I'm
fully of
talking
the
about
context.
logical
Don't think that there was like
validity.
an equivocation there. There
No,
wasn't.
because how
So you said
stuff can be valid
the
in different
criterion.
ways.
Well, one second. The criterion of logic for something to be valid is only going to be met in the cases where the premises are going to be necessarily, or so the conclusion is going to be necessarily implied from the premises. And I gave you an example where there's going to be some form of validity or like a distinction within
But
like
that's not logical
validity
validity.
where it's going to be applied here, where the premises
That's not
are
logical
relevant to the
validity, because
conclusion.
remember, there's still different types of validity. Even there exists statistical validity, and statistics are logical constructs, of course.
Okay,
So
so when Sue family is using vacuously
that's a whole
valid,
different. That's a
then
whole different
he's not
validity.
talking about valid. He's not talking about a form of validity.
He's not talking
Even
about
this
logical
text of
validity. Yeah, formal validity.
okay, can you prove this?
Yes, I
Can you
just
prove
did.
that he's using like some like
That's
different
why he called it something.
contextual meaning
Yeah,
of?
the very idea of him using vacuously as like an adverb. I mean, yeah, I mean, as an adjective to modify the validity in this sense, is the very meaning that he's trying to modify this noun in a difference than, I guess, a logical contrasting.
So you don't think that there's any case in which like the word
I think I can
vacuous?
even say
You don't think? Hold on, one
vacuously.
second, one second. Do you think like vacuous? Can you prove that like vacuous is going to be like mutually exclusive with like the context of logic?
Uh, are we good?
Like I'm so yes, it's
Hold
a
on. Do you
like a
think when I
very
say
basic question.
logical, do you think when I say logical validity and I say statistical validity, I am now trying to exclude statistics from logic?
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. So then I must tell
Well,
you,
hold
then
up. In
no,
the
I'm
given
not
case, wait,
excluding.
hold up. In the given case, well, I want to clarify real quick. In the given case, like maybe when you're saying that, there's logical validity and then there is statistical validity, you're making a distinction between like the context in which the word validity is used. But like,
No.
unless you can give a way in which you can like make a distinction or
I
like
mean,
a
yeah. But
mutually exclusive nature between the word vicious and like its
yeah.
applicability in formal logic, then like
No,
it's
no,
just
no.
retarded.
I'm saying I'm gonna be making a distinction between, I guess, formal and vacuous, in the sense of how they speaking about validity. That's what I would just do. Which I kind of already gave my definition of validity. I mean, logical validity in
Okay, so
contrast to vacuous.
you're not engaging
You
with the
denied
argument that I
with my
gave you.
you
You're not
denied with
engaging
my
with the argument I
definition.
gave
No,
you.
I am engaging. This is a question that you asked me. I'm
I
trying
don't
to
give a
answer your
fuck
question.
about like your personal semantics you're using. We're talking
So
about
are
the
we gonna keep on over
semantics that this
talking me?
author
I'm
is
gonna ask you
talking
this one
about.
more time, and we're gonna keep on over talking me.
If you don't engage, then I'll interject one more time. But sure.
Okay. So this is what's gonna happen.
What's going to happen?
You're gonna
Now I'm
stop fucking
scared.
over talking me, and we can engage. And I don't
Okay,
know
bro, I'm
who
like giving you the floor right now. I don't know why you're like,
is trying to say. Hold on.
bro, just fucking talk, bro. Like I don't like I'm giving you the mic. Nigga, talk. Why are you silent, bro? What the fuck? Yo, is my Wi-Fi gone or something? Can somebody say something?
Yo,
Is he gone?
yeah, I think he got fear hacks, bro.
I don't know why the fuck he keeps on saying I got fear hacks. What the fuck? I don't know why you think you look good. But what I was trying to say, because this guy kept on over talking me, he doesn't look good. Like it's just not making you look good in any type of way. Like I was trying to say, so you can stop trying to over talk me and running away from the dialogue. It's obviously there's gonna be a distinction. And when I'm talking about formal validity and statistical validity, there's obviously a different interpretation. I'm not excluding it from fucking logic and Ozzy. I don't know how to say this nigga name. OSZYI. Nobody's getting fair hacks or losing to this guy. He's obviously very fucking confused, and he's just been ranting and hasn't actually given a counter to my semantic dispute. It's just not looking good for him.
Alright, bro.
Alright, there is you finished? Okay.
So
you didn't engage with like the argument that I gave you.
You didn't give an argument.
Or a question that I asked you.
It was a question.
It was a question. I'm asking you a question then, again for the third time. Is there going to be something? Can you point out something mutually exclusive with the usage of the word vacuous and the context of formal logic?
Yes.
Okay, please give it to me then.
I mean, no. Only formal validity in vacuous.
So there's going to be something mutually exclusive with the word vacuous and formal valid? Sorry, not formal.
Yes.
Okay, then point that out then.
Yes. Formal validity is obviously getting into the truth of the premises, guaranteed from the conclusion. I mean, the truth of the conclusion guaranteed from the premises.
Bro,
vacuous is just gonna be. Hold on, I don't know why you're talking over top of me. It's just not making you look good. Stop doing that. You done? Good boy. Now, the main point is, when we're talking about vacuous truth, obviously we're saying that the antecedent is false, making the entire statement true, regardless the truth of the then part would just be the consequent, would just like be, I guess, trivial. If there's not going to be any contradictory evidence for me saying that all unicorns have dicks, because no unicorns exist, then it will be vacuously true. Or some would even say trivially true, since there's no contradictory evidence. So one is speaking about structure preservation, and the other is speaking about triviality in the existence. I mean, in the cases of non-existent evidence that just counters.
Are you finished?
I'm done.
Okay. So like you purposely didn't engage, but like the.
This is bad.
Hold up. Because the question I asked you, I asked you was formal logic. I made a mistake with like maybe a misspeak when I said formal valid. I corrected myself. I said more formal logic. And I'm asking you something mutually exclusive between formal logic and the usage of the word vacuous. I don't know why you're appealing to some other nigga, bro. Like everything's on rec, bro. You could just like
I'm appealing.
Watch this thing again.
I just said his name. Are you good?
Yes, bro. Like you could appeal to other people's name for like a rhetorical tactic, saying
appeal to his name for a rhetorical tactic when I wanted to ask him a question.
You're trying to show, nigga.
Are you done? Are you dumb? I was asking him a question, and this wasn't even a part of the debate. So shut the fuck up with your presumptions.
You're not going to engage with my conversation. I mean, you're not going to.
I'm gonna engage. I'm just trying to talk to him.
Just give me like what's going to be mutually exclusive between vacuous in the context of formal logic.
Yeah, I did. Formal validity.
What the fuck?
Formal validity.
Formal logic, nigga.
I never said formal logic. That's why I said no. Formal validity.
I don't give a shit about what you said. I said formal logic, and I asked you a question on formal logic. That means you're not engaged.
I don't care if formal logic is. No, I'm saying that it can still be accepted or can be compatible with formal logic. I have no problem with that. I'm saying that there's going to be a problem. Hold on. I'm talking about there's going to be a problem when you're talking about formal validity being vacuous truth. You dumb fuck retard. I don't know why you keep on running away.
You just made a blunder.
No, you made a blunder.
So when you gave,
hold on,
if you accept that can be used in the context of formal logic, if you accept that, then given like your acceptance of Sufan Lee here, and he uses.
I never said I accepted Sufan Lee.
Oh my fucking god, bro! Please let me speak. Anyways.
You're a shaman.
This textbook is on formal logic. This section is about like formal validity, and he talks about this argument being vacuously valid.
Yeah, that's not even formal validity.
Hold up 1 second. Your argument was that vacuously valid, the word vacuous, when you're applying the predicate of vacuous to valid, the word valid, then that's going to necessarily imply that the context of the word valid is going to shift. But if you accept, by the way, you just accepted that you don't think that there's a problem with using vacuous in the context of formal logic.
Because formal logic is not formal validity.
1 second. That means we could just accept by prima facie that like.
No, it's not. Listen. He just said that I was basically conflating. No, this is what he was doing actually. He was conflating formal logic with formal validity when I was just making the distinction between vacuously valid and formally valid. This is just not good for you. No, I don't agree with formal. Because I don't want him to try to like run away when I'm beating on him.
But I mean, the question asked was not about formal validity.
And I said there's no problem with that.
Wait, okay, yeah, and then that's what I'm talking about. I'm giving it. I'm showing.
I don't know why. OCZO. I don't know how to say this nigga name. He keeps on saying that. Oh, I'm a fucking retard. You can come and get slammed on the same topic. Like I can do a 2v1 against you guys. Like you guys suck. Ass.
We're not going anywhere. Like this is like completely retarded. Please, Josee. You can mute me when like he's talking, and you can mute.
He mutes me. Yo, no.
Yeah, because I'm not done with my point.
For the fucking reg. He mutes me. He mutes me for the fucking reg.
He can.
I got this shit on reg. Like it's bad.
Yeah, I understand, bro.
He's muted. No, I'm gonna stop engaging. If you're gonna keep on muting me. If you're gonna keep on muting me.
You don't have to engage. That's fine, bro.
I don't have to engage. I don't have to engage. Stop trying to fucking mute. So I can keep on engaging. Unless if you're gonna keep on muting me, then it's just not gonna be looking good for you. Because I'm just gonna claim you as a fee and you're very fucking shit.
I didn't meet you. I asked.
I don't even need to claim you as a fee. You don't even need to claim you as a fee. You're fucking ass.
I agreed to the fucking terms where I would get muted, by the way, mutually too.
No, I don't care.
I understand
I
why
just
you're
told you I
not
don't want any type of mod.
You don't want me to speak because I showed you your blunder in the moment.
I showed you your blunder. I just showed you a blunder, my nigga. You literally try to conflate me trying to say formal validity is going to be, I guess, distinct from fucking vacuous validity. You literally try to make a distinction. I mean, you literally try to make an identical relation between those two terms. But obviously, it's not going to be identical at all. And then I was trying to tell you that formal logic has no problem with vacuous truths. It even accepts vacuous truths. This is what happens when you don't understand anything. There's a compatibility between the two, but there's not going to be a compatibility between formal logic and formal and hold on. There's not going to be a compatibility between formal logic and formal validity and formal logic.
I agree with you that there's going to be a mutually.
No, I mean, no, in the sense that they're going to be identical. In the sense they're going to be identical.
I never talked about formal validity. I'm talking about formally, like the context of formal logic and the usage of vacuous. And you agreed that the usage of vacuous can be applied.
Yeah, vacuous alone. Vacuous alone, not vacuously too.
It's a fucking simple. Okay, I don't think we can have a conversation because you're too retarded. I'll just like.
You're a dumbass. You're fucking running away. Should I get like Archie to come and wreck this shit?
Let me ask you.
Like I don't even fuck with Archie entirely, but I can get Archie right now to come in. Yo, stop trying to overtalk. So like I was trying to say. Oh my god, you don't look good. Stop doing that shit. Just stop running away.
Talking if you're not letting me speak.
Stop running away,
time, bro. You haven't let me speak more than 30 seconds.
I wasn't even finished.
Bro, you spoke for like 3 fucking minutes straight, bro. How are you not finished already, nigga?
I'm still not done because I wanted to get out my point.
That's not how a conversation goes, bro. That's not how a conversation goes.
Yeah,
you're not engaging.
The conversation goes until I go, until I finish.
Whoa, bro. Just be nice, bro.
I was nice
like,
to this nigga, bro. What? This nigga said some retarded shit.
Like, I'm showing you how my thought process is going about this, and like any like blunders that happened. I'm trying to give my argument. You're not even letting me speak, bro. Like I don't know why this is.
You have even given
going
a
to be any meaningful conversation.
So I don't give a fuck. What's gonna be the P1?
P1 is that you accept that P1 you accept that it's possible for, or there's no mutually exclusive nature between the word vacuous and its applicability in the context of formally valid.
I don't know what that means.
No, sorry, formal logic. The context of formal logic. You don't understand you don't understand what I said?
No, you said I accept this. What's going to be the justification for this?
You accept it as in like we can appeal to whatever you said, like your words in the rec.
Okay, so what's going to be the data for
You said that there's no problem. You said there's no problem between the usage of vacuous and its context of formal logic. And then I don't know why you had like an entire tangent. Wait, hold on. I don't know why you had an tangent. Sorry, I'm stuttering. The entire tangent of like formally valid and like its mutually exclusive nature between formal validity and vacuous validity. That's not my argument. My argument was like within the context of formally, formal logic, which is this textbook, and it's using Sioux family is using the word vacuously valid. Unless you give like unless you give like a justification, unless you're giving a justification for why that. He's making a separate, like a distinct contextual definition of valid under like formal logic, excluding formal logic, then like we're just going to take by prima facie that like when he says vacuously valid. Okay, then we can talk about that. I don't know why the fuck we're like on this like meta debate bullshit. Yeah. I don't know, so like.
I'll say it's vacuously true that he has a distinction between vacuous validity and formal validity.
Okay, we're not talking about formal validity. I already accept that like vacuous validity is not going to mean formal validity like
then we're good.
Completely. But like that, by the way, like the original position was just valid in the first place, like logically valid. And like we can talk about wait, hold on one second. We can talk about formal validity and its mutually exclusive nature too.
No, I want to talk to you upon that. What the fuck does that mean? The position was formally valid or logically valid.
Okay, I gave you the intuitive definition and I agreed to your intuitive definition of, the conclusion is just going to necessarily follow from the premises. But I'm saying under classical logic, this is just not going to be the case. Like, things can be valid. Okay,
Even in your
I gave you and that's why I'm giving you a textbook. You asked me a textbook.
This textbook contradicts itself because it gives a definition of logically valid, which obviously contrasted itself with validity.
No, that's not true. You gave the criterion.
Okay, go.
Let me make clear about like your position and my position. We could go somewhere. Your position was like from the beginning of the rec, was like the only criterion for something to be under the word valid is just simply going to be the case where the conclusion is just going to necessarily follow from the premises.
No.
And I'm giving you a case in which that's not going to be the case under classical logic. Wait, one second. That's not going to be the case under classical logic. And then you asked me how you can justify this, maybe a paper or something, and I gave you one.
Position.
But that's what the position I'm contending is. That's what you said.
Valid, like I said, there could be different types of valid, of course, like statistical validity. That could be under the word valid. So that's not my position. I'm saying what classifies as logically valid. Remember, logically valid is not just valid. Logically valid in this sense is just going to be saying if the premises are true, then the conclusions is going to be true following from the premises.
Well, not even that, actually. I'm going to go further, which is that we're talking about classical logic. Under classical logic, what is considered valid? And I'm saying that something can still be considered valid only in the cases if there is... And by the way, we're not like evaluating... Well, hold on, one second. If you give a definition of formal validity as like that intuitive case of just like the thing is going to necessarily follow from the premises, and I'm saying that that's not what we're contending right now. Do you know the entire motivation for why we had like this conversation or why I engaged it?
Hold on, are you dumb? Hold on, let me just make this very more clear for you. Under classical logic, there can be something what we call statistical validity, and that can also be under classical logic. There's no contradiction with statistical validity. It's literally totally a Bible.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that right now.
Under formal logic, say under formal logic, okay?
Yeah, sure. Formal logic under classical logic. Yeah, sure. Like,
okay.
Yes, sure. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hold up. I don't know why you're like scared to like run away from classical logic because the original conversation.
Scared to like run away.
Wait, one second, bro. The entire conversation.
No, that's a blunder. That's a fucking blunder. He said scared to run away when he was trying to do fucking rhetorical tactics. I'm scared to run away? I guess, nigga, what the fuck? I'm not running away because I'm engaging? You dumb fucking retard?
Sure, scared to run away.
I'm scared to run away. No, I gotta clip that.
You made your point. Everything's on the rec, bro. Everything's on the rec.
This is like bad for you.
Everything's on the rec, bro. Everything's on the rec.
You're a dumbass. Come on.
I mean, do you want me to correct myself? Like scared and running away? Like, sure. Scared and running away. Sure. Yeah, sure. That's like a.
You stuttered like 7 times.
It's a rhetorical thing. Okay.
It's a rhetorical mistake while trying to be rhetorical. That doesn't even make sense. But okay.
Anyways. So like the contention that I'm giving, like the reason why we had this conversation in the first place was that your definition of your definition of validity under classical logic.
Well, like I just said that not classical logic.
No, hold on. No, that's not the case because
classical logic is brutal.
Reason why. Wait, 1 second, bro. 1 fucking second. The reason why we had this conversation is because I'm giving a critique on classical logic. That was the entire reason why. You held to classical logic. You asked me.
You give me a critique on formal logic. That's why you bring up the formal logic PDF.
No, that's not true. Because you asked me, like the entire conversation started because you said you don't have any understanding or like you didn't read on like any contention point against classical logic, and I gave you one example, which was like their usage of logical validity, formal validity under classical logic.
That's not even a usage, but I made a distinction. I made a symmetry breaker. This is not even logical validity.
Oh my god, bro. And I gave you an entire point why under classical logic, because they have like these different applicabilities of. I mean, you can make a distinction. You didn't even make the distinction. I'm already granting you that.
I made a symmetry.
You did not make a distinction.
You did not make a distinction. By giving two, yes, by validity, by vacuously valid, and I'll tell you this again, and I'll recite it because that's why you disagreed with this being the only condition or sufficient condition which can be vacuously valid, which is just going to be valid only if the premises contradict each other, making the truth of the conclusion irrelevant. That's going to be vacuously valid. You said, well, obviously, I don't agree that this is the only thing or the criterion for which can be vacuously valid. And then I was like, okay, so what's going to be the semantic dispute? You said, I don't even care for the semantic dispute. I don't know why the fuck you said that, but obviously I disagree with the other conditions. I disagree. Let me finish. Oh, okay. We're just gonna
Go ahead
overtalk.
and finish. Go ahead and
Yeah.
finish.
So obviously, I don't know why you said that, because obviously that's very false. I believe that's the only condition, and that's the only thing which makes the very definitional criterion for what is going to be vacuously valid. Obviously, you can understand that because you were just running away. But listen, the main point is this. Now, I gave another definition which was logically valid, which is just saying premises are going to follow from the premises are going to follow up to the conclusion, and the conclusion is going to be followed from the premises if the premises are true, and the conclusion is going to be true, guaranteed from the premises. That's what it basically is. All I was saying, based off that criterion and that based off that notion, is now I've given a symmetry breaker. One is going to be having the involvement of a dialethia probably, and the other one is not going to have the involvement of a dialethia. Because the other one is just going to be assuming that there's going to be a logical structure of preservation.
Why is it the case that whenever you interact when I'm giving a point, you could like loud mic and interrupt and like interject and say like, I need a clarification on there, or like you're mistopping. Yeah, so I gave you I was going to like clarify my point, or I was going to show you like you're misinterpreting what I said. That's why I was going to interject there, but like you just.
But you just misinterpreted what I said.
This is just like, you know, maybe I gotta build a loud mic into my headset or something to win a rhetorical tactic. But I want to engage in like a formal dialectic here. I want to engage in a formal.
I was on phone. You was already over talking me.
Okay,
I mean, still rhetorically dominating. Like,
the reason why I was like interrupting you, that I was interjecting there, or interrupting, whatever you want to talk about, like whatever label you want to give there, is because you were misinterpreting my point, and you were also interrupting me in the middle as well. So that's why I was talking progressively louder. But this meta debate bullshit. Let's just move on to like my point. You're still not understanding what I'm saying. Like the original conversation at hand was because I was giving a contention on classical logic and like their usage of validity. And you gave, again, I'm just repeating for like the 6th time, you gave a criterion that anything that's considered valid under classical logic is simply just going to be the case that the conclusion is necessarily going to follow from the premises. I don't give a shit if you backtrack. I don't care if that's like what you personally believe, but like I was contending on that. But I was contending on the position. That's the reason why I engaged. All right.
No,
if you
I told you
backtrack,
that, and then I told you it wasn't under classical logic. I
Are
told you it was under formal logic.
Oh my god.
Formal logic. Listen. Formal logic is going to be something a part of classical logic, but it doesn't have to be the only point. Listen. Classical logic obviously has formal logic as a main thing, correct? Now, I said under formal logic because classical logic is broader. When I say statistical validity, this is not going to be something that's going to only be specifically referring back to like a formal logic type of definitional criterion.
All right, that's fine. So I can grant that. Well, hold up. Let me speak more than like 30 seconds. All right, I'll grant that. Like even under the label of formal logic, right? We just like replace it too. Your criterion for under formal logic, something to be valid under formal logic, is only given these set criterions. And if they sufficiently, match these criterions, then they're considered valid. And I gave you I interjected there. I gave my contention. I said I objected, and you said, okay, what's the basis for your objection? You asked me to give you papers or textbooks, and I said, you know what? I can give you a textbook. We had a conversation there. I give you a textbook. Sioux family, you were fucking rejoiced, and you said like, oh, I read this guy too. And obviously, you take it as authoritative. You can interject here. I mean, you can interject later about this. You can say like that's not the case, but it is the case that you still had like a semantic dispute on what he was saying, meaning that you still had like you still believe that there's still weight to this guy's words, unless you would just fucking reject like what he said in the first place. We didn't have that entire like dialectic.
I'm saying I don't.
But either way,
in this specific context, no.
Either way, like I'm almost done. I promise. But either way, like the entire textbook for like the audience or like whatever fucking like people you're gonna show this rec to, I don't really care, is like on formal logic. Specifically, this chapter here is on validity under formal logic. So when we go to more examples here, like the section more example on page 21, under formal logic, he explains that this argument where the premises are irrelevant to the conclusion is going to be vacuously valid. He says this argument can be called valid. And because it's going to be called valid here, I wanted to ask him, is there going to be any like mutually exclusive nature between the word vacuous and its contextual application under formal logic? And if there is none, then we're just going to take by prima facie that he means in the context of formal logic, because this chapter is on formal logic and specifically validity on formal logic. It's the example he gave. So that's just my point. And then past that, I just ask you to give you evidence why like you think that it's not, there's going to be like a switch in the context.
I gave you a definition of vacuous and a difference a difference of validity.
Right, but like you accepted that you don't think that there is any mutually exclusive nature between, or like there's nothing mutually exclusive between the usage of the word vacuous and its context in formal logic. You said like I don't have a problem with that.
I said I said that multiple of times. I just said that the only way you're actually asking a question that's going to be relevant to the data or sample space right now is for you to ask me if there's going to be a difference between how vacuous is used or integrated within classical logic or formal. I mean within formal logic. I meant to say within formal logic, or in the sense of validity or comparison of other terms within it.
All right. Okay. So the reason why I have a feeling why I don't have to justify that or give evidence for that position is because it's already going to be inferred when we're reading a chapter on formal logic, specifically on validity. So I don't have to give you a justification for why, when he uses the word valid under section of validity, under section of formal logic, why the context of his usage of the word valid in this case is not going to be under formal logic. And if you do accept, by the way, the case that this validity, whatever, is under formal logic. I don't know why the entire rant earlier about like statistical validity, like he's not going to use statistical validity under section called formal logic under a chapter called validity. That's just not going to be the case.
He can,
but he doesn't. That's the reason why. I mean, if he did, that can be like a good argument or like an evidence for like why it'd be more probable that the context could change if he changes the context from like formal validity to statistical validity. But there's no case of that. There's no evidence of that within this. So if you
formal validity by trying to contrast it with other types of validities.
Okay, can you give me evidence that he's going to do that? Like he doesn't.
No, I said
he doesn't change the context of this.
He did. I'm saying,
yeah. Okay,
but
he
was trying to do that with the vacuous truth.
Yes, but like I understand, but you're presupposing that like the word vacuous. Wait, hold on 1 second. You're presupposing the word vacuous, like the predication of vacuously, or the word vacuous on validity, the word valid. Like you're presupposing this semantic notion of vacuous only in the context of something outside of formal validity. And you already agreed to me earlier that vacuous, the predicate of vacuous, can be used in contexts of formal logic. So there's not going to be a symmetry breaker here.
There is a symmetry breaker.
Can you explain to me, please?
Yes, easily. So obviously, I already said that vacuously valid in this sense. It's not going to be used in the same identical relation with formal validity or under formal logic. And the only reason I said that was based off the definitional criterions. You said, well, prove he's not using it the same way. Well, I must ask you, since there's higher stakes on your behalf, and there's going to be, I guess you're saying that it's more of a credence just because he was on the section, that he's only speaking about this. I must ask you to prove this then.
Well, I don't have to prove it because, I mean, it's just, again, like, you didn't give, I mean, you can like argue at right now at this position or at this point now, but you already agreed prior to this that the usage of the word vacuous, there's not anything that's going to, break the symmetry, or there's nothing mutually exclusive of using vacuous in the context of formal logic. So I don't think like,
Yeah, there's no problem
formal
with
logic. Yeah.
vacuous, but it's different when you're saying vacuously valid. That's different.
Wait, hold up. Let me put your mic on. I can barely hear you.
That's because I have I said there's not going to be a problem when we're saying vacuous, but when we're talking about vacuously valid, I'm not even sure what we mean by that entirely under classical systems or like formal logic.
But you must, I mean, you have to have some idea when you agreed to me earlier that the predication of vacuous onto the word valid, or like the predicate of vacuous, has nothing mutually exclusive with like the contextual understanding of formal logic, like the context of formal logic.
Well, yeah. So remember, valid by
you can
itself,
change the position there, but like right now, like I'm just going off of what you agreed to earlier. I mean, we could talk. I mean, I'm not going to do like a rhetorical tactic where like you agreed to this, we're going to stick on this. You can like change your position. I don't have like a problem with that.
No, I'm not even changing the positions. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
The whole entire time, I'm not sure if I was like saying this wrong or you just.
I can barely hear you again. Hold up.
Okay. I'm not sure if. Hold on, that's because I keep on turning my mic down. I'm not sure if you like didn't get this or like I said it wrong or something, but the whole entire point was that, well, when you're putting something that's not formal or logically before valid, when you're putting something that's not those two and it's something else like vacuous, statistical, maybe even epistemological, that is going to be a whole entire different concept. That's why I was just believing. And then,
but sorry, did you not finish?
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Well, we don't have to have this conversation because I understand, like, if you give like other predicates like statistical onto like the word valid, and you didn't agree prior to this that like there was no agreement that like it's going to necessarily imply another context, then yes, like I understand that I have to give a justification why when he uses the word vacuous, it's not going to imply another contextual understanding. But simply because you agreed to the fact that vacuous can be still used properly under the context of formal logic without implying another, context, then there is just no reason to leave when he's under the section of formal logic, specifically on validity as well, and uses that the term vacuously valid. That it's not going to be under like a context of formal logic, like the usage of the word vacuous under formal logic. It's not going to be like vacuous in like a different semantical notion.
Right. So yeah, under a different semantical notion, that's not going to be probably formally valid, because I'm not saying vacuous is going to be the definition I prescribe to as formally valid. Outside of that, in itself, it's not going to have any other definition besides itself. That's obviously analytic. That is an axiom. What? Like a definition is going to have its own definition.
So then I asked you earlier that's the reason why I asked you earlier that like
y'all are still going, bro. What the hell?
I mean, like it's a lot more cordial now. Like it's a lot better. But I mean, like that's why I asked you: is there something going to be like necessarily implied under like the definition of vacuous, like another context, or there's going to be something mutually exclusive with like the understanding of the word vacuous of that context with like another context? There's going to be like a distinction. But like you didn't agree to that. You said that it can be still used properly under the formal logic and like formal validity or whatever. And because you said that it can still be. What am I confused on?
No, I said your sentence, which was your question, is confusing.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so when you say it's still like another way vacuous can be used in other mutually exclusive contexts outside the formal logic, I guess, domain. When you say it like that, and you ask this question, that's very confusing, because I'm not sure if you're going to be speaking about in the sense of a non-classical sense, or it's just going to be saying, well, outside this specific domain of formal logic, maybe in metaphysics, vacuous is just going to be used differently. I'm not sure if you're going into that type of domain or just like entirely outside of non-classical, because when you think about it, well, vacuous truths are not actually just formal logic. They're not like just formal logical constructs. If you get what I mean.
But that's again that's like begging the question, because that's your semantic notion of a vacuous, and that's exactly what I was. But I'm asking you. That's why I asked you earlier. That could have there been another semantic notion or something like? Is there going to be something mutually exclusive with the usage or the definition of the word vacuous and its applicability in formal logic? You didn't say in any. So when you use vacuous under the context of formal logic and you apply it to validity or some truth or whatever, under the context of formal logic, meaning that any entailment of, using that particular word or denotation of the predicate vacuous under the context of formal logic is just going to be proper. It's not going to like be contradictory. There's nothing going to be mutually exclusive with the context of, the semantic notion of vacuous. And because you agreed to this, that's why we moved on to the point, and I told you why this was a blunder. Like, I understand that I'm not saying that you accepting this makes this necessarily the case that vacuous is going to, just because vacuous, the word vacuous and the predicate vacuous can be used properly under formal logic, it is just the case that like any usage of the word vacuous onto validity is just going to imply, the context of formal logic. I'm just saying that under this definition, as long as you accept the case that it can be properly predicated under the context of formal logic, if we look at like, what we were evaluating earlier, which is the context, very clearly the context of formal logic, under a book of formal logic, under a section or chapter called validity.
Can I say something real quick on that?
Yeah, sure.
Can be used, but vacuously valid can't be used.
I don't see why that's necessarily the case.
Under my definition of vacuously valid, I don't believe that can be used, but I believe vacuous can be used. That's why I was trying
Okay,
to say
I understand. Like I'm not contending that vacuous validity under your definition or under like proper definition is the case. The reason why we're having this particular contention or talking point is because we're evaluating what Su-Fan Lee, the author of this textbook, is talking about. Because you disagree the usage or like whatever I'm interpreting from the words of Su-Fan Lee is this way. But I'm showing you that it's more probable, unless I'm giving more information or evidence, that his applicability of vacuous is just going to be under the context of formal logic when he uses it, because it's under the section of formal logic and validity.
Right. And then I kind of gave you like a distinction based off the uniqueness of the adjective that you would add to the this adjective that you would add to modify this noun in this sense. I kind of like gave you that distinction, and that adjective would just be vacuous, and that will have its own uniqueness. That's going to be obviously in contrasting to logic, or logical, or like formal. Obviously, when we're going into the
yeah, but like again, like
it's more probable that he wasn't speaking about that because he given a different type of adjective, unless there's like any evidence in which he shows that adjective that he gives towards validity is just gonna have like an identical relation to formal. Then I would just see like no symmetry breaker.
I understand. Like, I don't think personally I hold to that vacuous validity. Like, is obviously not going to be the same as formal validity because the words are different. Like, there's a reason why you'd have a different predicate. But that's not what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about what this guy thinks. We're talking about like what Su-Fan Lee thinks. If vacuous, like what we're interpreting what he's saying, and then yeah, like we can just say that he made a mistake here. But it's just going to be the case that my interpretation is correct, because if it is the case that vacuous or the predicate of vacuous is never going to be there's going to be something mutually exclusive with the usage of vacuous in the context of formal logic, then he wouldn't have, used it here. But I'm just saying, just because that he used it here, I'm just going to infer, like, probabilistically. Yeah, sure.
So P1, intuitively, vacuously, added to valid, and logically or / formally added to valid is gonna have two different meanings. Do you agree with that?
I don't understand what you mean, but like logically valid and like what notion on the classical law?
Yeah. So when we put logically, when we say logically or formally before valid, and we add that on to like valid, like as an adjective in this sense, do you believe that obviously that's going to be distinct from vacuously under our intuitions?
Under our intuition, that point,
like under
linguistical
or even humanistic type of intuitions.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like the usage of the word.
Do you agree with that premise?
No, I'm saying that the premise is confusing. That's why I can't agree or disagree yet.
What's the unintelligibility or confusion with the utterance?
Yeah, because like the first premise is literally what we're contending in the first place. Like I'm saying that like if you say intuitive, I already granted you from the very beginning that our intuitive understanding of validity, there's going to be a disjunct with this and like its usage in classical
linguistics in general.
Yes, and that's going to be, and then you say you're intuitive, so
so then that's what I'm saying. That's the premise one. Then premise two, all human have intuitions. Do you agree with that a categorical proposition?
I can accept it.
Okay, beautiful. Premise three, Su-Fan Lee is human.
Su-Fan Lee is yes, she's a human.
Then I'll just say,
but I don't think this is just like, even if I grant you premise one, I don't think it's going to be necessarily following. I think it's a non sequitur.
It's a plausible inference. So then C, it's more plausible that these intuitions that is originally held in, I guess, linguistics, and contextuality, and logic, which I given in premise one obviously as an entity. Su-Fan Lee may incorporate that as an, I guess, intuition, as this is just going to be an intuitive, I guess, factorization.
Wait, what? Repeat yourself? That's like a very confusing.
Yeah, I'll just say it's going to be more plausibly the case that Su-Fan Lee has these intuitions, based off priors.
That's a conclusion.
Yeah, it's a plausible inference, correct?
Okay, well, I just reject the first premise, so we can talk about that then.
Well, you agreed with the first premise. That's why I went down the line. Now we're gonna backtrack.
No, I didn't agree to the first premise we're talking about.
If that's what your first premise is saying, then I would just like agree with that. And you said yes.
No, I did not. What are you talking about? I never agreed to this. Did I agree to this?
You literally resaid my premise when you said this is gonna be like intuitive when we say it like this, and you try to give like your own way of saying it. Which was
yes,
like
that's what.
Formal.
Okay. I think you maybe it's rather what I said was confusing, or you might have been confused. But like, let me explain to you. Like, the reason why I brought up that point of what's intuitive definition of validity is the reason why I'm objecting to premise one. And it's like that. I agreed to you earlier in the case that if you're going to say logically valid or something is going to be valid, right? Intuitively, it's just going to be that the case that I'm agreeing to your criterion. By the way, I'm agreeing to your criterion that we were objecting to, or like the thing that started this conversation in the first place, which is that any argument that just the conclusion necessarily follows logically from the premises is going to be valid. And I'm saying that this is purely intuitive. Like, I'm saying that this disjunct here.
Different. No, that's not what I said at all.
Yeah, but one second. But that's why I said like the addition of like intuitive. It is intuitive. Like, the ending point of your first premise was very confusing. That's why I was objecting, because I don't think that this is.
Okay.
Wait, what? Did you not add the word to intuitive?
Yeah, no. What you were saying entirely was like not my point. So hold on. So hold on. Let me tell you. Do you think these two are the same? Looking at general. So do you think these two are the same?
Wait, where did you post it?
In general. Yeah.
Vacuous validity, formal validity. Yeah, I'm not saying that their usage are going to be like synonymous. I never said that.
No, I'm saying,
that is not what we're contending.
Do you think in this definition, do you believe that they're going to be synonymous or like identical?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so
never agreed to this.
Is saying that
wait, hold on. When you say, but like again, when you say formally valid,
I disagree.
Are you saying like the definition of formally valid under classical logic, under Sufan Lee's definition, or formally valid under like the intuitive sense?
I said intuitively. So.
Yes, then I agree with this, but that's not the contention point, right?
Right. Yeah,
the contention point is.
That's the premise one.
Okay, but we need to make clear on like the premises, because this is equivocating right now on like what we're referring to. No, because like we're having a different referent when you're saying formally valid. I'm using specific. You're having a reference to intuitive sense of. Well, hold on 1 second. You're having a reference to intuitive sense of formally valid, whilst I'm having a reference to. My referent of formally valid. This usage here is just simply referring to formally valid under classical logic, under like the book that we're contending on, which is by Sufan Lee. And I'm saying that this is going to be different than what we intuitively think.
Spoken about under classical logic, but obviously I disagree with one of them even being under classical logic as a classical system, like formally valid is, or formal validity is. But this is what I'm trying to say.
That's also a contention point that we don't agree on.
I know. But this is what I'm trying to say. Intuitively, to humans, vacuously valid and formally valid are distinct, aka in its usage, its definition, and contextualization. Do you agree with that premise one?
Yes, but my problem with it is not that it's true, but my contention with it is because I don't think we're talking in the sense of intuitive definition of formally valid. We're not like the intuitive definition of formally valid has nothing to do with anything.
Individual definitions, yeah. I only got into just its distinction that I was trying to make between the two. So in its definitions, even though we haven't gotten to the definitions, they are different. We know that. Okay, so intuitively to humans, these two things, validities, are going to be distinct. Beautiful. All humans have intuitions. You agreed with that, right?
Wait, give me a second. I need somebody's calling me. Give me a second.
Okay. It's been like, you kind of like agreed to the premises, bro. Well, that's okay.
Oh, I guess so. Oh, sorry, I do need to go in like 30 minutes or so. I mean, we probably finish in like 30 minutes, so there's no conflict.
Conclude. So we're about to conclude. So then I must ask you, P2, all humans have intuitions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
And I want you to remember, P1 was intuitively to humans, vacuously valid, informally valid, or distinct. Nice, beautiful. So then P3, CU Fan Lee is a human.
CU Fan Lee.
That
Yeah,
has,
I agree
CU
with
Fan
that.
Lee is a human that has these intuitions. That you agree with that premise? That has
Sure.
intuitions. Oh, then conclusion is more plausible.
Okay.
Well, I don't even have to do that. But like conclusion, it's more plausible that CU Fan Lee had a distinction.
No, I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that because
Actually,
you're
it's
equivocating.
actually valid. Hold on.
No, because 1 second, because you're equivocating on.
I don't even have to put. I could say certainly.
Wait, 1 second, 1 second. Because the reason why there's not valid, it's not going to necessarily follow is because, again, the point of intuition. When you're saying this is going to be the intuitive definition of formally valid, I just don't. That's just irrelevant to the point because I'm saying that the definition of vacuously valid or like the validity that Su Fan Lee uses is just not going to be in the intuitive sense. That's like the entire point that I've been talking about. That's why I said it's going to be incorrect.
What was my P3 again?
P3, Su Fan Lee is a human being, or Su Fan Lee's
that has these intuitions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and if he has,
I don't think that's not even going to be like.
Hold on. If he has these intuitions, which I'm speaking about the prior premises that we're speaking about, like when I say intuitively, humans form to humans.
You didn't even justify. You didn't even justify P1 yet. Like, and you didn't. Yes, you didn't because like you equivocated. No, because I agreed on the equivocated definition of formally valid, like or intuition.
I said intuitively to humans.
I don't understand why you're not I don't understand why you're not like getting this. It's just very simple. Like when you said intuitive sense, that we're not talking about what is it, like formal validity used in the context of Su Fan Lee's thing is going to be intuitive. Like we have different reference when you're using the word formally valid.
Wait, hold on. Look in the chat. Contextualization, definition, and usage. That was P1.
And also, I'm pretty sure like vacuous validity also is like applicable in like formal validity. But like just even for the sake of the conversation, I'm advancing this like your definition of it.
No, hold on. P2. All
Anyways.
humans have intuitions. Was this not the premise too?
Wait, hold up. Premise 1: intuitively to humans. Mm-hmm. Formally valid and vacuously valid are distinct in contextualization, definition, and usage. By the way, you don't even agree to this, by the way, because you said earlier that there is no mutually exclusive nature between vacuous validity or like the word vacuous and then its contextual usage and formal.
Logic, not formal.
Also,
validity.
again, yeah, formal logic, sure. And then also I can disagree.
So I do agree with
also,
you.
1 second. I can also disagree on premise 1 on the point that yes, it is the case that.
That's backtracking. Okay, yeah.
No. I never agreed to this. I agreed to your other restated premise, which was that it's just intuitive definition of formally valid is going to be distinct from vacuous validity. It's not going to be contained under the intuitive sense. But I'm saying that like we're contending right now whether or not something is going to be contained in it, not whether or not something's intuitively valid. Like I already gave you the reason why.
But you remember everybody. I'm gonna show you this on rec multiple times. Well, this is like a blunder. I'm not even trying to give it to. I'm just saying. This is a big blunder. You did agree to this premise 1 and the premise 2 and the premise 3.
No, I didn't, bro. I disagreed with this for like the past 15 minutes. Like,
all I heard is Jose agreed to
Wallahi,
P1 and
Wallahi.
P2. He agreed to P3 as well, which was that.
Your formulation of P1 that you stated earlier, that was just not like that was equivocating. That I agreed to, but like the unequivocated definition when like we're having I literally explained to you earlier in pre-1 like my reason why I think it's confusing and just not true. I showed you why like we have different reference when we're talking about formal validity. Like we've talked about this like many times already.
Hold on. I just want to show you.
I don't know why you're so confused on this point.
Hold on. It's more plausible. He's speaking of. Hold on. Let me show you this. It's more plausible. It's more plausible. His intuitions are distincting it. Now, that was the conclusion. That's all of it. Do you want to go look at my rec real quick?
Yeah, she can like show the